Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is May 8th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a U.S. Department of Justice issued indictment and subsequent FBI, DHS, U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, or Washington National Police-based arrest raid targeting U.S. President Donald J. Trump on the morning of May 9th of 2026 for high crimes and misdemeanors related to Jeffrey Epstein and his global sex trafficking ring. So the date of Saturday, May 9th of 2026 marks exactly 3 days since U.S. Treasury Secretary and unapologetic Zionist Jew Howard Lutnick was interviewed in a closed-door meeting regarding the Epstein files on Capitol Hill back on May 6th of 2026. So I believe that part of this indictment is going to be based off his testimony as a sworn-in U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, and I believe that he is essentially going to sell out Donald J. Trump. Howard Lutnick has had a long and incestuous relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, not only visiting his island on multiple times, likely engaging in horrific crimes against minors, but he lived next to him in New York City. That's how close they were. So if anybody has a get out of jail free card here, it's Howard Lutnick, and I believe that he will sell out and he will basically turn on his friend, quote unquote, Donald J. Trump by likely producing testimony or so-called evidence to basically seal the indictment against Donald J. Trump for the date of May 9th. So in the event of a second Howard Lutnick related event on the date of May 9th of 2026, it would mark two such events in 4 days. 24 equates to letter X, which is known internationally as a symbol of death, because Donald J. Trump will not survive the arrest. He will never see the inside of a courtroom. He will likely be assassinated in some ancient, esoteric, and ritualistic blood sacrifice under the guise of a self-inflicted suicide, a medical-related emergency, or confrontation with law enforcement after being incarcerated. Coincidentally, the date of May 9th marks exactly 17 days since former Jeffrey Epstein model Elizabetta Tai Ferretto disappeared in New York City back on April 22nd of 2026. This woman just returned from Europe, where she was visiting her family in Italy, and she has since gone missing. So it's highly likely that they would try to tie this back to the president, claiming that he ordered somebody or financed her disappearance, and it's highly likely that she will be found murdered at a future date. They will likely claim that she was returning to the United States to press charges or to testify against Trump, but she has since disappeared, so that will likely be part of this impending indictment of the date of May 9th. Of course, number 17 equates to letter Q, as in coup d'etat, because this is essentially overthrowing a sitting U.S. president via a completely fabricated narrative. Also, the date of May 9th marks exactly 474 days since Donald J. Trump became president of the United States back on January 20th of 2025. Of course, the number 474 has 47, which Trump is the 47th president of the United States. And then you have the number 44, which is DD, as in dead and died. And so this is basically going to be the death of Donald J. Trump after he is arrested and subsequently assassinated. I should also mention that the date of May 9th marks exactly 84 days since the third and final trove of the so-called Epstein files was released back on February 14th of 2026. Of course, the number 84 is indicative of both Barack Hussein Obama, born on August 4th, as well as U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, which is the 48th President of the United States, because the impending arrest and subsequent assassination of Donald J. Trump for Epstein-related crimes will spawn the birth of the J.D. Vance presidency and or the dictatorship of Barack Hussein Obama within the United States. Also, the date of May 9th marks exactly 141 days since the first trove of the Epstein files, consisting of roughly 30 million pieces of information, was released back on December 19th of 2025. Of course, the number 141 is no mistake, because that is the reflective of the national motto of Switzerland, which is home to the CIA, which is all for one, one for all. And because this is Switzerland's hand, basically removing a sitting U.S. president via completely fabricated sex scandal. Also, the date of May 9th marks exactly 29,184 days since Donald J. Trump was born in Queens, New York, back on June 14th of 1946. And of course, this number has, featuring the number 84, which I just mentioned, is reflective of both Barack Hussein Obama and J.D. Vance, who will ascend into power post-Trump's assassination. Okay, so like I mentioned, there's a number of possibilities how this impending indictment and subsequent arrest and assassination is going to play out. But it's highly likely that they're going to claim that there are new bodies, possibly the aforementioned Epstein model, DNA evidence, possibly producing a Bill Clinton-like dress with semen stains, photos, videos, witnesses. The FBI is currently ongoing. They're currently investigating and taking apart Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, where the bodies are allegedly buried. And so they're likely going to produce evidence from that. They may also claim that Trump had some sort of role in the Epstein suicide, and coincidentally, an Epstein suicide note was just disclosed roughly 3 days ago. And so they'll likely claim that this was either fabricated or something to that effect, because they plan on not only suiciding Trump at a later date, like Epstein, but they could and will likely try to link, if they decide that it was not in fact a self-inflicted suicide by Epstein, they'll try to link it to Trump as paying for, or having somebody such as a dirty cop that Jeffrey Epstein was coincidentally jailed with commit the murder of Jeffrey Epstein. And also, lastly, the Ghislaine Maxwell testimony to the grand jury, as well as the recent Howard Lutnick testimony on Capitol Hill, will likely be cited in this impending indictment. So lastly, I just want to highlight a couple other things. So if in fact Donald J. Trump is arrested, it's highly likely that they will cite 18 U.S. Code 4, which is misprision of a felony. So basically that Trump had evidence about crimes being committed against minors, and he failed to inform the proper authorities, and that will likely be flanked by multiple charges, likely a horde of sexual-related crimes. And we have to remember that they are going to produce a harem of women that are going to make the talk show circuit. They're going to be interviewed on late-night television, and they're going to be doing podcasts all over the place. They're likely going to be hot. There's likely going to be over 10 of them, and they're all going to claim the same thing, that Trump sexually assaulted them at some point in the past. They never filed a police report. They never sued Trump, but now they're all coming together, and they're they're basically going to give a testimony, and these witnesses have been programmed and groomed for this event in the aftermath of Trump's arrest. And the Eric Swalwell scandal in California, where you have all these women coming out making all these accusations, unfounded or otherwise, is basically setting the precedent and designed to foreshadow this exact operation that they're going to pull on Trump. And so they knocked out one of their top Democrats, and now they're going to knock out the top Republican. So it's this tit for tat. Also, there was a couple of women that were interviewed by the FBI regarding Trump's alleged sexual assault. There was a Jane Doe, aged 13 to 15, who Trump allegedly forced her to give him oral sex. There was another Jane Doe interviewed by the FBI back on August 7th of 2019, and another one on July 24th of 2019. These two women will likely be, they'll likely reveal them during this indictment. And then there's also the so-called 37 pages and 53 pages that are missing from the Epstein files, and those are likely going to be produced in this indictment. And lastly, the CIA is privy to state-of-the-art so-called AI technology, Photoshop, deepfake technology. So this impending indictment is going to likely come with a fourth and final trove of Epstein files that is likely going to feature the unedited, unredacted version of the previously released redacted version of the Epstein files. So all the black boxes are going to be taken away, and there will be the face of Trump or his appendage or some crime that is being committed. So this is what they're planning on doing. They're likely also going to produce a bunch of videos, audio tapes, photos that are going to have Trump in sexually compromised positions. We've heard about the P-tape from Moscow, and this is likely going to be just the appetizer, because this is going to be it's going to be very pornographic in nature. That is why Stormy Daniels was describing Trump's penis in his book, or in her book, because they plan on basically embarrassing him to the point where it would make sense that he committed suicide. So they're basically going to just throw every single thing that they have at the wall to frame him. Never mind that if there was actual legitimate evidence of sexual crimes committed by Trump, the Biden administration had 4 years to file an indictment with their DOJ, and they failed to do so. So that suggests that this impending arrest and subsequent suicide assassination of Trump is obviously based off of complete fabrication. So anyways, that's about it. If in fact Donald J. Trump is arrested for crimes related to the Epstein files on May 9th of 2026, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.